It was an ordinary Wednesday. A sharp, clear morning in Larchfield, a town where nothing ever happened, until it did. At exactly 11:37 a.m., a 6-month-old baby girl named Elsie Voss vanished in broad daylight. Her mother, Clara Voss, was walking home from the doctor's office. Elsie was asleep in her stroller. Clara stopped at the local florist on Main Street to buy a simple bouquet of daisies. Mrs. Dalton, the florist, would later remember her as polite, tired, and maybe a little distracted, the way any new mother might be. Clara bent down to smell a flower. She turned to pay, and when she looked back, the stroller was gone. There was no scream, no struggle, no sound at all, just an empty space on the sidewalk where her child had been just seconds before. The police arrived within 5 minutes. They sealed off Main Street, started pulling security footage from every shop, and began interviewing anyone who was in the area. They gathered statements from 47 witnesses. The problem was, none of them matched. A delivery driver was certain he saw a man in a tan jacket walking away with a stroller. A teenager swore it was a woman in a bright red coat. One elderly man, confused, told police the stroller just rolled off on its own toward the corner. The most crucial piece of evidence should have been the florist's security camera, but when the investigators played it back, they found something baffling. For a minute and a half, starting at precisely 11:37, the footage was just static. The tech team initially blamed it on electrical interference, maybe from a passing truck, but there was no record of any truck on Main Street at that time. It was as if that single, critical moment had been professionally erased from reality. In the weeks and months that followed, Clara didn't sleep. She became a ghost in her own life, haunted by the ghost of her daughter. She kept a notepad by her bed, frantically scribbling down every half-remembered detail. A face in the crowd, a strange sound, the shape of a shadow. Anything that might be a clue. She became obsessed with time, replaying the moments around 11:37 over and over in her mind. She could recall the exact angle of the sun, the second hand on the town clock, the way the stroller's shadow had seemed too short for the time of day. She pleaded with the police to re-interview everyone who was on Main Street. They did, and everyone had a solid alibi. Everyone except one person, Tom Beer. He was a new maintenance worker for the city, hired just a week before Elsie disappeared. The day after the kidnapping, he quit his job without notice and vanished. Police managed to trace him to a rundown motel 2 towns over, but by the time they got there, the room was empty. All they found was a pack of cigarettes, a discarded tan jacket, and a single, tiny baby shoe. Hope surged through the investigation, but it was quickly extinguished. DNA testing on the items was inconclusive. And the baby shoe, it wasn't Elsie's size. It was another dead end, another piece of a puzzle that didn't fit. Tom Borick was never seen again. 15 years passed. The case grew cold, then colder still. The town of Larchfield, once a quiet, unremarkable place, became famous for one thing: the baby that was never found. The story became a staple of true crime podcasts and online forums. Amateur sleuths from around the world picked apart every detail. They analyzed the static on the tape, the contradictory witness statements, the strange silence surrounding the event. Theories swirled. Some people, in hushed tones, began to suspect Clara herself. They whispered about postpartum psychoses, suggesting the missing stroller was a story she invented to cover a terrible truth. Others pointed to rumors of a child trafficking ring that supposedly operated in rural areas, snatching children in plain sight, but without any evidence. It was all just speculation, fueling a mystery that refused to die. Clara eventually moved away. She changed her name, trying to escape the town that held her greatest pain, but she never gave up. Every year, on the anniversary of Elsie's disappearance, she mailed a letter to the Larchfield Police Department. It always contained the same single question: did anyone ever check the florist's basement? And the police always sent the same reply: there is no basement. Then, in the year 20, the old florist's shop on Main Street was finally sold and scheduled for renovation. During the demolition, a construction worker pulled a loose panel from a wall. Behind it, sealed away from light and time, was a dusty VHS cassette. The label, written in faded marker, read, Main Street, 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock. They immediately handed it over to the police. The investigators watched, holding their breath. The footage was grainy, a relic from another era, but it was clear. There was Clara entering the florist. There was the stroller with Elsie inside. There were the daisies. Everything was exactly as the witnesses had described. And then, at 11:37, the camera captured something new. A white van pulled up, just out of the frame. The reflection in the florist's window showed a man stepping out. He glanced left, then right, then bent down toward the stroller. For a terrifying, heart-stopping moment, the man looked directly into the camera lens. It wasn't a glance, it was a stare, as if he knew he was being watched and didn't care. And then the tape cut to black. The license plate was unreadable in the reflection. The white van was never traced. Elsie Voss remained a name in a case file, stamped unresolved. There were no ghosts in this story, no supernatural curses, just a hole where the truth was supposed to be. Larchfield learned a hard lesson that day. Evil doesn't always hide in the dark or in the shadows. Sometimes it parks in broad daylight, smiles right at the camera, and vanishes before anyone even thinks to scream. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as chilling as we did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the world's most haunting unsolved mysteries. Stay safe out there.